Ayup Woodlanders, we have crept away from our usual woodland adventures to bring you another Daz's DIY disasters. This video is all about the archway in our house and the conversion process that took place over a period of about 3 years on and off, and some disasters along the way and how we got round it. Our house is a 2-bedroomed semi-detached Victorian house built in the 1870s. Part of its original design was to have a front room or parlour and a back room, and somewhere around about the 1950s and 60s they put in an RSJ and decided to knock through so that the two rooms sort of became one. I didn't particularly like this rainbow arch, and I was a little bit concerned that the pillars that the RSJ sat on weren't very big. I decided to extend the sides with brick, put in these two sort of oak feature alcoves in it, and then put some oak railway sleepers as like a timber framed surround that was a non-supporting structure that just helped it make it look like a timber framed archway. I bought the railway sleepers green from a local timber reclaim yard. These timbers are oak. I let them dry for a good few months and thought they would be okay, and I fitted the arch and I was happy with it until about 6 or 8 months later. You could start to see the twist, the curl, the bow, and all of that starting to come into play as the timbers dried out. I knew at that stage that I would have to do something about it, but I wanted the timbers to dry out as fully as possible, so I left it another 12 months, and so we got to where we're at now, where I had to dismantle the whole archway, cut out the screws that I'd fixed it with.
No panic.
Took it up to the workshop and decided the only way forward was to cut off all of the wonkiness on one side so I could get a square and flat edge, and from that point I could square off the sides. I had no choice but to reduce the overall thickness and width of the timbers just to get them square again, which meant eventually that I would have to put on some sort of cover or architrave onto the sides to cover the gaps that had formed at the back. This is one of the sides, and this one has got a good bow in it, so it does that. It's like a dip or an arc. This is the face. So I'll try and get this plain flat, level, however you want to describe it, and then we can cut down these sides like we did the top one. Ever so slightly at the top, I've got to reduce the length of this tenon because it was just bottoming out in the mortise. And then you might see very faintly there, I've tried my best to scribe a line, a pencil line, where it needs to be cut there and down there as well. Now this edge won't be seen, but this edge will be, so I've just got to try and make as tidy a job of it as I can. And then the other job I've got to do is just take a little slither off the side of this so that this moves across a little bit. Now you might be wondering why we've come both sides with the peg. This will all get covered over so you won't actually see the pegs, which is unfortunate because I do like to see the pegs a bit. The reason I've come in from both sides is because normally you run a tree nail or an oak peg, chamfered, all the way through so it comes poking out the other side. But sometimes it can twist, and now I didn't want that and I wasn't sure about my accuracy. So what can happen is it can pull in this side but not pull in this side. So that's why I've gone from one each side. It might not be proper timber frame rejoinery, but this is a non-supporting structure, it's just cosmetic really. Now that I've got the top fixed in position with the mortise and tenons and the pegs, the next job is to fix back the sides with some concrete fixing screws. I've made some 1-inch pegs to act as tuts. And then it's onto the architrave, but we'll save that for part 2. So thanks for watching so far. If you're able to, avoid any DIY disasters, and we'll see you next time. This is some oak I got from Blackpool.